Cue dramatic intro music. Welcome everyone to Noobs and the Gingerback. For those of you who joined us last week, I thought we had a great show last week, actually. Got into some really, really interesting topics, and we're going to try and continue that today. A lot of, I think, very important topics at the moment that we're covering that we need to talk about. You know, as people involved in the gaming industry, we need to talk about these things. So we're going to jump straight into our first story, which is about Valve. Now, obviously, everybody knows Valve, the creator of Steam, as well as the Half-Life series, amongst other things. Everyone uses Steam, but there's been a recent issue where Steam have been basically going around changing their privacy regulations and everything to prevent people from understanding their sales figures. All right. So this now started back in April, where Valve made changes to Steam that bolstered user privacy, all in relevance to GDPR, for those of you who are aware of that, which were the changes in data protection laws within Europe, which affected the entire world, realistically. So they changed their privacy regulations, which really kind of hit a website called Steam Spy. Now, a lot of people know what was Steam Spy. They basically posted figures about sales of games on Steam. Noobs, you ever used Steam Spy? You heard of them?
Yes, and I think that's great. It's nice to know what's hot, what's not, and I don't know why it's such a big
well, this
deal.
is the thing. I before I think we go into this story too much, I wanna get your opinion on what is the value of people understanding these kind of figures. What's the value of the general public knowing, you know, Steam's sales figures, and what do you think could be the drawbacks? What reason do you think they'd have for not wanting people to know it?
Well, I know. I guess maybe to persuade someone not to buy something. Like, to me, if I'm going to buy a game and let's say I use, Stream Spy, to where is this game popular enough? Like some of the games that we've played here recently where there's just no fan base. Like, I don't want to get caught up in something like that. You want to know who owns it. You don't want to go, especially if it costs money. You don't want to pay money. So I think maybe that would hurt them in a way where, I mean, every sale to them is money in their pocket. So if there was a way for people to know, hey, maybe we shouldn't buy this game that they would have just bought on a whim, that's losing sales. So I could see where that could be a problem. Maybe.
Yeah, but there's the flip side of that. You've got the other side of that, where if people know a game's really popular, then they're going to go and buy it. So you do have both sides of the coin in that respect. I see where you're coming from with it, but I don't think that would be an issue. I mean, we did have Dapcat earlier on while I was streaming. He had a very, very interesting point, actually, where he was talking about how people can then go and look at games that are popular, and it could help people, very, very quickly create clones of games that are becoming popular and put them out there to try and take advantage of that. Now, again, I don't see that as a drawback necessarily.
Well, yeah.
Because if there's a really good game out there and people are making clones about it and making more games that are similar to that, why is that a bad thing? Surely that's helping us to get good content that we want to play.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's kind of like the battle royale of today, where people just seem to think like those are just popping up all over, but they're different and they're good. Like, I don't like PUBG. I never played H1Z1, but I love Fortnite. So it's like if nobody tried to clone, the battle royale, I wouldn't get the game that I actually enjoy. I've seen Realm Royale, which is laid out a little bit different, but it's also fun. So it's like, a genre that I may have never took interest in, I now am taking interest in because of the fact that somebody did want to clone it. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of a good thing too. Take a formula that works and then turn around and try making it better. So, like you said, Dapper Cat had a good point.
It does kind of tie in with the story we had a couple of weeks ago about indie games being cloned before they've even been released. I don't think now it's a valid point. It is a valid point, and people's IPs being cloned so quickly and so easily is a problem. I don't think that's a problem caused by knowing sales figures. I don't think it's a problem that Valve necessarily would be concerned about. So again, it comes back to this kind of question of why. Now, when this first happened, obviously they announced that it was because of GDPR regulations. However, last month, a developer by the name of Tyler I do apologize if I brutally just destroy this name, but Tyler Gliel, who worked on games like Closure and The End Is Nigh. He outlined a new method to track other game sales in a post online, which he published on June 29. Now, this is important, okay? So he published this on June 29. And basically, people could look at Steam's achievement data and form a rough estimate of how many players a game had. For instance, if 50% of users had a certain achievement, that implied at least 2 players had bought the game. 33% meant there were at least 3, and so on, etc., etc. Now, publicly available Steam community data wasn't exact enough for this to actually be useful, because Steam rounded achievement percentages to 1 decimal place. However, the Steam API offered 16 decimal places of data. So this is what he then went and took advantage of, to try and get this information up to 16 points of information, which would give you a good idea, as described there, a good idea of how many people are playing a game. Literally 3 days later, so beginning of July, Steam then changed their API, so it doesn't do that anymore. Rendering that is completely useless. Absolutely, completely useless. But they offered no explanation as to why they did this. And I think this is where the kind of conversation is coming out of now. They won't tell anyone why they don't want us to see their sales information.
And I think some people are just weird.
I can't work out for the life of me why.
I think some people are just weird. Like, have you ever just met that one friend, you're just like, hey, and you kind of like dig in their financial life a little bit, and there's like, it's just none of your business. Like, it doesn't affect anything, but then they choose to be one of those weird people where it's like, just none of your business. Or maybe there's some weird hidden backdoor or something they just don't want someone to finally see, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem like it's a big deal. And it's just nice to know, like...
Sorry, carry on, man.
I was going to say, because like on Twitch, you can go on Twitch and see what popular games people are streaming, which is way different than popular games people are buying. But like, it's not a, like, that's not a big deal. And it's just weird that they won't let people figure out or just release, like, this is what we're selling the most, that it's some weird secret, or especially to go after somebody that did figure it out. Like, I don't know. It's weird that some people are just like that, I guess. I don't know.
Fair enough. Well, they did after this. They spoke quite recently at a business conference for a games industry event in Russia, where they recognized the usefulness of Steam Spy, but they weren't happy with how accurate it was. So this is the thing now. Okay, so there's an argument to be made that maybe they're coming up with their own product that does the same thing, so they can release the figures in their way, which I think fundamentally is wrong, because that is always going to be open to bias. They can put out whatever figures they want to. They can push certain games. You can have game companies then paying them to create false figures to show that a game is popular. So I think that's the risk which they're creating with that. On the other hand, if they're saying that Steam Spy wasn't accurate enough, I need Steam Pie. If they believe that Steam Spy isn't accurate enough, why not give them the tools to be more accurate? So you've got a non-biased service promoting your platform, essentially, and promoting people to come and buy stuff on your platform. Am I just crazy in thinking that might be a good business decision?
And it's so weird because, like, another thing that doesn't really add up is, like, Steam's a small area where, like, Blizzard, you can't factor any of that. So, like, since they don't sell their stuff, so it's like you can't go, well, this game's more popular than this, or you have Uplay, Origins, stuff like that, where they don't sell their games on Steam, So it's like you can't really figure out, what. It's not like Steam kind of has control over every game in the whole market. So like I said, I don't know where the thing is, but it's like, if their thing's not correct,
Thank you very much for the support, Josh.
Just give them the,
At least
give them the
agrees
tools.
with me.
Give them the tools to, do it the right way.
Well, you'll be sure that we'll be keeping an eye on that and keeping an eye on the development, and hopefully we'll have more news for you guys next week. So moving on to our next story, we're still talking about gaming communities. This is obviously, I think this is going to be the topic of the year, just like last year was microtransactions and loot boxes. I think this year it's going to be communities. So we're moving on now to Rainbow Six Siege, right, which recently changed its community regulations, and basically they're now starting to hand out instant bans to players typing slurs in chat. Thank you. All I'd like to say to them is thank you. This goes back to a conversation we had last week where there was an esports player who used a homophobic slur during a stream and received a 30-day ban, which I personally think wasn't long enough. Rainbow Six are taking a stand on this, and I'm so glad that they are. So, according to PC Gamer, there was a user who typed Nibba, N-I-B-B-A, into the chat and received a 30-minute ban from the game, presumably because of its similarity to a racial slur. Apparently the first ban that a player receives will last 30 minutes. The second and third will be 2 hours each, and any further bans could be permanent at Ubisoft's discretion. So you've got a 4-strike thing here, right? The first one, right, 30 minutes. Second and third, 2 hours, right? You've been warned. We're now, okay, that's it. You're not playing today anymore, or something like that, or whatever. And then after that, yeah, it's permanent. You've been warned 3 times. Cheers. Love it.
That's the standard golden rule. 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It shouldn't even be 3, but kind of the standard rule.
Everyone's got their own experiences, coming across toxic people in video games. I mean, I'm sure you have yourself as well, Noobs.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I used to do comp Gears of War, and it was rough. Yeah. It was rough 10 years ago, and the age of people, learning certain words or younger, expressing those, and yeah, I mean that's just, it sucks because it's almost like people, it's like a way. Like, people are just so used to it, and they do it now, and it's like it's wrong. Like, people need to knock that off. But since the parents, or, you, whatever, weren't raised to be a normal human being, at least these companies are taking a step to kind of, like, smack the hand of people and, take everyone down a peg.
I wouldn't go that far as to bringing parenting into the conversation, because I know when my parents aren't around, I swear like fuck, but when I'm in front of them, saint, absolute saint. My mom will, I'm 28 years old. My mom will still smack me if I swear in front of her. So I wouldn't bring that into the conversation. But talking about your experience with, sort of toxic people online and that, if someone tried to do that, but if someone tried to do that and like used some kind of derogatory term towards you, that's it. Guess what? You don't have to play with them anymore. How much would that change? Like, it would change my perception of playing online. I don't play online multiplayer games anymore because I can't stand the toxic behavior that goes on. This is something that, like, I'm happy to go play Rainbow Six again if they're doing this.
Yeah, because I can't remember what games it was, but there were certain games where, like, if you get player reviews and you're like, this is a horrible player, and after a while, like, you don't ever see that person online. Like, you won't accidentally bump into that person, down the road. And I think that's nice that, this way it's like, just get rid of them. Like, they don't even need to be here. And maybe by the, maybe if they can't play video games anymore, they're like, oh crap, maybe, once the next game comes out that I can actually play, I shouldn't do this. And then, you're going to lose all that toxicity.
Well, that's the thing. If you know that it's going to happen, then you're just not going to do it. And we have already seen like really positive response. Well, we've had there's another story on Kotaku that is basically talking about how every game should copy their new chat moderation. And there's fantastic sort of quotes from people who have seen it, where someone has written to the developers and said, just wanted to say I've watched a few people get banned right in front of my eyes. It's beautiful. So it's having a positive effect already. And they've only been doing this for about a month.
And it's good that they're doing the chat now. I mean, it's one thing. Yeah, it's one thing when you're live streaming or something where you can catch, the vocal in action. But, chats are happening all the time, and it's nice that people are actually moderating and looking at that, to take care of it.
Yeah.
Because that's huge in the PC world. I mean, you get that freedom to chat on the side, and I think people maybe thought they were safe. Like, oh, well, I can't say it, but now we can go ahead and type it. So it's good that someone's taking that extra step to, look into that.
Absolutely. And just to hit on a point, Josh, I know that you typed in the chat about people trying to abuse this to get other players banned. Now, they have actually addressed this. The new chat monitoring system new kind of meta game. They have picked up on it, in which some players try to bait one another into typing something that could be construed as hate speech in order to get them banned and removed from a match. This has been reported. They are aware of this. However, the reaction to this new chat system is a lot of people actually coming out on social media, admitting to behaving like that and doing that in game. So already, even that aspect, people are going, "Oh, well, actually, this isn't how we should be behaving. You know, this isn't quite right." I'm confident that they will also work out how to prevent that in the future. But it is a good point to note that whenever these new systems come into place, there is always going to be a way to abuse it to your advantage. Trolls are smarter than we think. You ever trolled anyone? You ever done any trolling, Noobs?
No, no. I've been trolled. I've had a lot of people, like I said, when I used to do the comp, people got really salty really quick. And bad, I had my name as my actual username on Xbox. And somebody sent me an Xbox message with my Facebook. So they took my name, found me on Facebook, and like that was just creepy enough for me. We're like, hey, I'm gonna come get you, to where I don't have my name as my gamer tag anymore. But I mean, like, that's serious stuff. Just because I beat you in a game.
Yeah.
So that was a little more. They didn't call me any physical names, but they were trying to insinuate harm, and like that's pretty serious. But yeah, I've had a lot of people troll me. A lot of people come into, I mean, with your live streams, saying certain stuff, or like, even here, I had someone come in, with, a classic Simpsons bar line with their name was Mike something. And like, you have to almost watch when people, come in and go, oh, I can't say that name. Or I just was clever about it and was like, oh, Mike underscore, and then said the other part. And you could tell, like, they left immediately because they were looking for that ruse. And it's like, sorry, you're not going to troll me today.
Fair one. Yeah, it is kind of a delicate thing for streamers. We're gonna come onto that a little bit later for another story, which I think is more relevant to that as well. But I think bottom line here is we want to see more games integrating this kind of chat moderation. We want to see more banning of toxic people on online games, because it's just going to make a better experience for everyone, and we're just going to have more players. End of the day.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I think the lack of the moderation is what got us to this point, and now we have to go back to the way things were, and it's definitely a beautiful thing. I'd love to be able to know that I can hop on any game at any time and just have a great experience with, the social aspect. Jump into any kind of game, either talking to people, or maybe people would talk more. Like, nobody ever talks. We all have headsets, but I think people are afraid that they're going to get trolled instantly, or get
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that'll bring more of a social aspect back if people weren't afraid that they can express themselves without getting trolled.
Well, we'd love to hear everyone else's stories about this. Any negative, or we'd love to hear positive stories that you've got about interacting with online in games. So please go into either my Discord, Noob's Discord, or even drop it in the chat. We'd love to hear your stories about how you've dealt with toxicity online. So our next story today is about the Xbox, which is something we don't talk about very often, being mostly PC gamers here, I think. I've never owned an Xbox myself. Noobs, I think you're an Xbox guy, right?
I was. PlayStation.
Right,
PlayStation's winning me back, but yes, Xbox One. Yeah, well, 360's what won my heart. Xbox One's kind of slipping away, and that's kind of where this topic is, I guess, to them, their redeeming factor. To me, not so much. Xbox is bringing.
Why don't you tell us what's happening? What have they done?
They have brought Dolby Vision to their system, which, let's see if I can pull this bad boy up here. It's going to be a whole bunch of things that most of us don't even understand. So, like, these little triangles inside the thing are, I guess, to the light spectrum for most TVs. So on the left, you would have your 1080 television. So that's kind of your general light spectrum. You have your HDR, because that was the biggest thing at the time. And then, of course, you've got your Dolby Vision, which bigger triangle. That's how we all get sold on stuff as in the marketplace. The way that the Dolby Vision is supposed to be laid out is they would be the first console to actually have it. Again, that doesn't really do much for us as gamers because you have to have the other equipment. You have to have the TV that supports it. I know that Xbox, they try to be this entertainment system. You know, like they want you to plug your cable box to the back of it, watch TV through your Xbox, and that's usually what, not Nintendo or PlayStation don't offer that. Um, and just like the old days with the Blu-ray, you bought a PlayStation because it was cheaper to buy that to get the Blu-ray than it was to go buy a Blu-ray player. And I think that's kind of where Xbox is like, hey, it's already in the house. You're getting HD DVDs or whatever the 4K HD DVDs or whatever they're called. They're trying to basically make that the DVD player, the entertainment player, and all this stuff. Is it a redeeming quality that's going to bring them back to the top now that they've worked their way down to the bottom? Probably not. Most of your kids with their 30-inch TV or 19-inch TV in their bedroom doesn't support anything over 720. So by making your console Dolby Vision, like me, I love it because I have the proper equipment for it. I have 4K DVD players or DVDs, so great for me. But for most people, I mean, it's not. Could that lead into other things? Possibly. I don't know how far that technology stretches and how they can use it into their games. I do know between the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox One that when you do the HDR, games look phenomenal. So I don't know how this, because I didn't read anywhere where they were talking that was going to be technology incorporated for gaming purpose. It was more so for video watching purpose. So I don't know how far that will extend into the gaming, but going back to the triangles, if you get more colors,
Well, just to briefly explain that. So essentially, what Dolby Vision, to kind of break down those graphs, it adds an extra layer of scene by scene information, so displays can show them more effectively. That's kind of the layman's terms breakdown of what it is. But
yeah,
they are talking about this. They are talking about this like this is going to save Xbox. Like this is the big thing that's going to bring them back to the top. And I'm just like, no, they need better games. That's what they need. They need more exclusives. That's what they're going to need to make it better.
Yeah, and like the way that, oh, what is it? I think like the 720, I think, is laid out into like an 8-bit format. So obviously you have, 8 diagonally to another 8. The HDR 10 does 10, and then I think the Dolby Vision will actually give you 12 bits. So then like you're going from 2,000 pixels on your screen to like 4,000 something. So you're getting that true 4K aspect. And I think like what a lot of it offers is because of the darker blacks, the vibrant colors, you get that depth. Like if you can't tell where the shadow and the building and certain things start, you can't build depth into the TV, the movies that you're watching. So by having the enriched colors and the deeper darks, like you get that spatial aspect where you're watching and you're like, holy crap, I can tell that there's 3 miles of depth between each one of the buildings. And I think if they can incorporate that, like you said, into the gaming aspect, that's what's really going to win us over. Because I know most games now, like you can get that huge visual where you can be in town, but you can see the mountain off, miles away. Before they had a render, like 6 feet in front of you just to get a game to go somewhere. So it's nice now that you can actually see, that depth aspect. So I'm hoping that is something they'll bring into gaming. Well, who knows? Like I said, I don't think it's something that can actually save them as a system. You got to have more than one piece of hardware to make that whole thing work.
Well, it's kind of an interesting time. Back end of August in Cologne in Germany, and Microsoft have already announced they're going to be announcing a whole bunch of new what's the right word, new accessories and hardware for the Xbox. And
I'm excited.
Do you think this is part of it? I mean, a lot of people are starting to talk about, they might release a new console, announce a new console. I don't necessarily think so, but what do you think we could see? Do you think this is going to be a part of it, or do you think we're going to see like Xbox One Pro S67 or some crap like that?
I hope not. I hope not. Just because they were the ones that were like, we're gonna build one system and we're gonna like software make it better, not hardware make it better. Almost like you were getting like DLC for your Xbox One. You know, that's what they led me to believe. So like, if they come up with a system, I'd lose my shit right off the bat.
Yeah. Don Gnos, first of all, thank you for joining the stream. If you want to watch the full thing, go over to Noob Television videos and everything. I'm just doing my camera from here. But on your point, he's just said in my chat here, too early for one, but I could see them releasing a 4K Xbox One. So
I mean, but that's what the Xbox One X.
Yeah. So he obviously wasn't here for the first part of the story. That is what we were talking about Xbox getting Dolby Vision, which is basically a higher form of visual output. So they are already doing that. But as we say, I don't think that's the way they're going to improve it. I think. Well, I don't think that's how they're going to get back into the console race. They need to get studios making exclusive.
Yeah,
but it is exciting that they are developing it is exciting they're developing the Xbox. I don't think we're seeing a new console come out anytime soon. I don't think the world's ready for it, but it's at least they're working on it. They're doing something instead of nothing, so that's fine.
Yeah, and they have a lot of things I think that can help save them with. They're developing other stuff. Between accessories and things like that. So I definitely think that they have a plan, they have a vision. I definitely don't think a council is in that vision, but they definitely have a lot. There's still more potential for this system, and I think that's probably what they're going to show is possible add-ons, accessories, and like I said, I would love to be able to see this new technology be incorporated into a game and not so much a movie.
Do you think we'll see Xbox VR?
I would love it. I love VR. Absolutely love VR. But I already have PlayStation. And if you're not going to have an exclusive, then it's not worth me buying another VR headset. And you making one VR exclusive isn't enough for me to buy a VR headset. But yeah, I think in the console world, I think the PSVR has it. As much as I love VR, I'm not asking for it out of Xbox.
Well, they've got to do something to compete with PlayStation on that front. Yeah, they've got all the PC VR stuff with Microsoft overall, but they've got nothing on Xbox really. So do you think maybe we'll see some kind of compatibility with like an HTC Vive with Xbox?
And see, maybe? I don't know, because when I got the Project Scorpio Edition Xbox One X, they got rid of the Kinect port. So like you had a webcam spatial, Wiimote action thing going on, and you just got rid of it. Like you can't even access it anymore. So like they're stepping away from, I don't want to call it gimmicky stuff, but like like people try these new things. I feel like they're stepping away from that, and I don't know where they're trying to go. In this new generation of consoles, like I've moved from Microsoft to PlayStation. I use my 4 way more than I do my 1. So I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, I don't want to give too much away of some of the things that I know that they're doing until a different week.
So you know things.
But they have a lot of cool features.
Somebody
I think
knows things. Ooh.
They have a lot of cool features that I think will be useful to different people for the future. Not me personally, but
yeah.
I definitely think that let's see here. Nope, I thought I had it up there. But I definitely think there'll be a contender again. I mean, even now, I don't even hear anything Microsoft. It's just kind of like it collects dust. I don't hear anything in the industry too much, except for, like I said, them working on accessories. So that'd be something we can talk about at a later date.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this. I'm quite keen on what they announce, because I think it's going to be very interesting what their plans are to compete with PlayStation, because at the moment they are losing that battle massively.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
But the backwards compatibility, I love. Like you're winning my heart over. As long as they
Yeah,
keep
we
going.
talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't think it's enough. I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I mean, you can actually play Red Dead Redemption in its best quality on Xbox now because they've remastered it for Xbox. And yeah, there's all tons and tons of backwards compatibility games that they've off their own back gone and done. I don't think it's enough. They need exclusives.
For me, I only like it because of HDMI cap card purposes for live streaming.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. So the fact that I can do that, that makes me happy.
And
but for a new
last point on this story before Don Nos in my chat talking about if they make cross-platform games, that's what I think. That's not Xbox. That's not Xbox having a problem with cross-platform. It's Sony. Sony refuses to let it happen. I think we spoke about it last week, actually. They refuse to let it happen. But we are going to be keeping tabs on it, and yeah, we're going to be keeping tabs on what Xbox is doing, and yeah, we will let you guys know once they announce stuff at Cologne, at Gamescom, what they're doing. So now the next story is, again, I think this is a bit more personal for you noobs, and this is World of Warcraft has made a massive change. Actually, I think it's a huge change to their kind of community, and that is that they've now basically made you can subscribe and play World of Warcraft plus all the expansions except for the latest 2, I think.
No, the one that hasn't even came out. So you can actually, oh crap, you can play Legion for free as well. So the one that's currently out is actually free.
So you can play all of the curntly available.
You can play everything that's currently available. The new expansion I think comes out September. I'll say that. I'm not 100% sure on the day.
Okay.
But,
so do you think that this expansion is going to be world changing, and that like the entire Warcraft world is going to be different after this expansion? Because that's the only thing that I can think of that would warrant this kind of massive move, and it is a massive move.
I mean, yeah. Well, they kind of came in and when they offered the first level, their first 20 levels for free, and that was a big thing. We're like, oh, cool. You know, you get in, get a taste, get addicted, and then that's what got me. And it's like Legion was awesome, and I feel like they have to step their game up a lot. And when you're asking a hefty price, a monthly fee for your game, like you have to do something to justify it and bring in new people, because it scares a lot of people away. And I think if you're going to offer 11 plus years of gameplay for free for that, $10, $15 a month price, I think that's going to bring a lot of people in, because they're going to get so much right off the bat. Because what every game gets plagued is when you cap out and you're just doing a grind. But for a new person to be able to come in and not buy 8 expansions worth and can just get crazy, and I mean, there's enough content there that keep them busy for a couple of years. So like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's a great.
This goes back to their kind of soft games as a service kind of business model. If you want to play the latest stuff, you got to pay for it. And I'm down with that. I think you're getting so much content for free that if you want more, you pay for it. Happy days.
Yeah, and for new people, I think that's great. Right out the gate, you drop down your first month's payment, and you got access to, all that content.
So just quickly, what are we watching here at the moment? Is this the trailer for the new
expansion? This is the trailer for the new expansion, which still blows my mind. It's like the 4th time I've watched it today.
Fair enough.
Which, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I knew what the other expansions were about as they were coming out. This one, I haven't followed as much, so I'm not quite sure what the battle and everything else. You have to continually bring. But you're definitely right. They're rushing off ski. You just have to keep bringing new content, and or you won't be relevant
I think
anymore.
This is a this is a very clever way of doing it, I think.
And that's how they've done it throughout the years, because like the first World of Warcraft was basically you ran everywhere. There was no flying, there was no, I guess, per se fast traveling, and like there was a long grind, and it's like people complained, so then they made it easier, and it brought in new people. And some of the older people that did grind through all that left because they were, angry because now it was too easy for people. But they have to, you have to adjust for a whole new market. And I think this is a
Yeah.
good way to get people in. Um, I mean, you can play the current expansion for nothing. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Two
Well,
months before the
as you
new one
said,
comes out.
there's what 7 or 8 expansions that people can now go and play absolutely for free.
Yeah,
Which is great. Why the hell not? I mean, I used to play many years ago. I stopped playing it because I couldn't afford to play it anymore. So it's just like
it is expensive.
spending money for a monthly subscription to play World of Warcraft.
And the bad thing for me is like when you do have Xbox, when you do have PlayStation, you're already paying 120 something a month for internet access. Nintendo's going to be doing their thing. And then now I have to play for a single game more a month than I pay for all three of these put together, all three consoles put together. It does suck and it does scare people away. But if I didn't have to pay for the game, I would almost pay for a subscription.
Well,
Even if
everyone's sorry, just kind of move along a little. Everyone's experiences with World of Warcraft. And again, please join our Discords, drop some information there. Is this going to get you back to playing World of Warcraft again? Have you never played it before? Would you be interested in playing it now and checking it out since it's free? Let us know. But moving along, we've got our next story, which is something that we mentioned. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. And this is that Shadow of War is now officially microtransaction free.
Oh yeah,
we announced this a while back. Yeah, we had a story a while back where when they announced that they were going to change it, or it was just something I think we threw in somewhere. But yeah, they announced a while ago that they were going to do a large update that was essentially going to remove all microtransactions and loot boxes from the game. EA have done the same thing with Battlefront 2. They I don't know if they have or they are removing all loot boxes. I don't know exactly, but it's kind of this is the final reaction from last year's huge amounts of controversy around loot boxes and microtransactions. And these two games, which I think have been the highlight of that, have finally turned around and gone, yeah, we were wrong, guys. We kind of screwed this one up. And they fixed the problem. They haven't left it. They've removed it from the game. I will probably now go and buy Shadow of War. I will actually probably play it now because I played the first one. It was a great game. And when the second one came out, and there were a lot of things about, things behind paywalls, and like the proper ending was behind a paywall or something, I was just like, nah, pass. But I will probably go and play this game now. What about you? Did you play the first one?
I've never played any of those, and they look amazing.
Oh,
and
it's fantastic.
I love that whole universe. It's time. So many good games come out every year, and you have to pick and choose, what you do and don't want to play. And it's crazy what there is. But something like this now, I'm glad that I didn't get in on it when there was, like you said, the paywalls and all the microtransactions. So now I know that I can go back in, which is probably even cheaper because of that reason. You can probably pick it up super cheap. I can get this game and play it in its true form. And but I'm just glad that this year has been a year for the industry as a whole just to take responsibility. And I think a lot of people are learning that they can't push us around and do stupid stuff thinking that we're just going to accept it because they're the big dog and we don't have a voice. So I'm glad that, we can kind of change, a lot of things in the industry like this.
I do hope that this kind of brings to an end, though, because if microtransactions aren't bad necessarily, we've seen very, very successful, brilliant implementations of it. One that comes to mind, we spoke of recently, Warframe. Game's free to play. There are microtransactions in it, but I've never heard anyone complain about their microtransactions because it's a bloody good game and they've implemented the system well. So I do think these companies have kind of put a bad light on that business model because they implemented it in a criminal manner, in my mind. But they fixed that, And the games that have done microtransactions properly have not been affected by it. And I think that's very important because at the end of the day, it is providing an alternative business model for developers, especially smaller developers who don't want to sell their games for 40, 50 quid. Well, no, you can give it out for free. That's how you get people to play it. But if you have a clever system in it, you can still be profitable with that game.
Yeah, and they're taking the money and putting it in. I mean, they're constantly updating, creating. They're staying true. Like you said, a lot of that microtransactions is just beautification. Look cool. It's nothing like, you can't play this level unless you pay us money. So I think they're doing it right where, you just
on the other hand of the argument, though, I mean, there are examples of games that have ditched a good microtransaction system and been successful. I mean, there's a clicker game on Steam. What's Clicker Heroes 2? Now, the first Clicker Heroes game which came out had microtransactions. It was a free game and it had microtransactions in it. And they've now come on to Clicker Heroes 2, which I think originally had microtransactions in it, but they've now changed that. They've taken that out completely and they've just put a price tag on the game. And it's not even a big price tag. It's like 23 quid. What's that? $28 for $30 for the game without microtransactions. And suddenly it's a Steam bestseller, just like that. So it does show that different business models work for different types of games. And as long as you do it in a fair manner that is fair to the player, right? And they're not trying to scam the player over and over again. Yeah, go for it. Do it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's certain games where I'm okay. It would be like Fortnite with the skins. And then there's certain games like Destiny, which I love, that I hate everything about their microtransaction system. It is the worst. And I wish I would play some of these other games to see how bad theirs were, like Star Wars Battlefront, like Shadow of War, just to kind of be like, oh.
I don't even want to know. Like, I heard stories about how bad Battlefront 2's loot box system was. I don't even want to know. Like, they did some horrible things. Like, if you didn't spend money in game, they'd literally reduce how much experience you get in a battle. Like, that's borderline criminal. I'm sorry, that's so horrible to do to gamers.
Yeah, those I was lucky enough never to experience. And I have Battlefront, but it was just more for the Star Wars nostalgia purpose, and I just enjoyed it. Like, I didn't even know they were in there. That's how bad it was. I was just there to play Star Wars and totally didn't even see or think about that. Probably why I died a lot, because I didn't fork out the money.
Probably. But it is a fantastic example of the gaming community as a whole has come forward and created positive change with the industry, which is great. But unfortunately, for every case of that we see, and this is now moving on to our next story, our main story for the day. For every case of positive community interaction within gaming, we unfortunately get some really awful ones as well. And for example, we have the case of for those of you who don't know, ArenaNet recently fired two of their staff members, Jessica Price and Peter Fries. They were fired after developer ArenaNet caved to community pressure surrounding a Twitter exchange between Price and a player of the game. And this has now caused basically most major developers to rethink their social community strategy. Now, essentially what happened was Jessica Price, who's obviously a female narrative designer for Guild Wars 2, she basically was constantly being told on social media how to do her job. Now, whether that was motivated by her being a woman or whether that was motivated by her actually not being very good at her job, I don't know. We don't know the truth behind that. However, she reacted to the person on Twitter saying, "Today, in being a female game dev, allow me, a person who does not work with you, explain to you how you do your job." She tweeted, saying that she'd insta-block the next rando asshat who tried to do the same. And this is what prompted reaction from the community, and ArenaNet had to fire. Now, whether that was justified or not, I don't know. However, what it led to after that was a series of, I don't know how to put this really, a series of bombardments towards developers trying to get female employees fired. And specifically, there was an incident that fortunately ended positively, but there was another developer who chose to remain anonymous, who faced an especially coordinated attack, albeit very incompetently handled. But basically what happened was the company had a freelance developer who was a person who identified as being transgender. And they received a series of letters of complaint saying that it is morally wrong to hire a transgender person. Now, before I carry on, that is sick. Anyone who says that or anyone who believes that, just fuck off. Seriously, like you don't need it. Whether someone's ability to do their job has got nothing to do with how they identify as a person. It has nothing to do with their sex. It has everything to do with whether or not they are good at that job. And usually people who are hired into these roles get it because they're good at their job. So, with that settled, unfortunately, what happened though was that the developer's CEO was actually ready to tell this person, the individual's boss, to fire them. But another employee realized that there was something wrong with these letters because 50 of them or something glitched out with some variables and stuff, including like they could see it said percentage female name. So they started investigating and they found this subreddit where people basically went, oh, look, ArenaNet had to fire someone because a community told them to. Let's all see if we can do this. And they created these generic letters, which people started sending out to companies. So the person wasn't fired because they did uncover this. I don't even know where to start with this, really. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know, like you said, it's definitely sickening. I mean, we enjoy games. If you give us what we enjoy, it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, but I mean,
at all.
That's
and
true for us. That's true for us. But
and I don't even know why these people want to attack, people like that.
There's a huge community of people out there who do this all the time. There are subreddits about this. People collect on Reddit and go, oh yeah, let's get these people fired. Let's ruin people's fucking lives.
And it's
why?
like, I've never been on Reddit, so like I don't even know how that works. But usually anytime something negative, it seems like that's the word that gets attached to it. It came out of Reddit somehow. And it's like, I don't know what's up with these people and why they have to. I mean, why does anybody want to intentionally ruin someone else's life? Especially somebody that.
I should just point out on your note, it wasn't just on Reddit. Reddit was one of the main places where they found it. However, it was found.
Oops, your mic cut out, but I believe you said 4chan. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's the other one I was going to say. I was going to say that too. I was going to be like, and if there is any other negativity, the number one source I ever hear is always 4chan, which that's just, it should say 4troll instead of 4chan.
Fair one.
But yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. Everybody, I don't know. It's just like the trolls come out of the woodwork and like they're just so bored with their life that let's ruin someone else's. Like there's no purpose in it. Like they didn't even have a reason. Like it wasn't like you were shitty at your job or, it's not like people that created No Man's Sky or, something like that where you have a reason, but you just for what? Because she was a woman, like.
Well, I've got the actual 4chan post here. I don't know if it was last Saturday or the Saturday before. In a specific games general discussion that said something along the lines of Reddit proved we can get bitches fired. Isn't there a female that posts here? Let's get her fired. It'll be awesome. We have the power to do it.
Wow. So yeah, I mean that right there was that says it. That says it all.
From that, I'm just speechless from that. I just don't get that. Why? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean there you go. It had nothing to do with anything except for somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed and wanted to ruin another individual's life.
And this thing, it is ruining people's lives. They're getting people fired. Okay, you're getting people whose job it is to engage with social media about their game. Now they're getting fired from that job because of social media. How easy do you think it's going to be for them to get another job doing that? Especially when it's all over the internet like this. Like people know that it's happened. It's not going to be easy for them to get another job because their reference is going to say, "Oh, they were fired over issues with the way they handled social media." That's what their reference is going to say essentially. So it's going to be very difficult for them to work. So yes, this is ruining people's lives for the sake of it, literally just for the sake of it, and that just blows my fucking mind. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's one of those. I mean, like you said, that goes on the back end of their resume. That's always going to be there. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this person can't do their job, and then it's like you have to go on court every time you get a job. Be like, well, no, look, here's a 4chan thing. Like they schemed it, and then you're like trying to like sell yourself to another company. Be like it wasn't me or whatever, and it's like their hard work, their college, their everything, whatever, is now thrown away. All their hard work
Mm.
because of just a group of individuals that wanted to troll.
Well, fortunately, the industry has reacted, and most developers and people who have these kind are entirely readdressing their community or their social media. What's the word? Guidelines. And there has been a series of guidelines issued by the International Game Developer Association, which apparently has been very useful to a lot of people. But it has also kind of gotten a lot of developers to wake up to their social media responsibilities, if you want to call it that. For example, Hinterland, who is the developer of The Long Dark, they have kind of in the past always had a very hands-off approach to community management. They don't really get involved with it. They kind of, if our employees want to post things online, that's fine. They do what they want. We're not getting involved. They have now said, well, apparently we need to pay attention to this. So they're now paying more attention to how their employees are using social media, and how they come across as a company on social media. So hopefully this doesn't start going down the road of, oh no, we can't say anything. No, you're not allowed to. If you work for the company, you're not allowed to tweet anything because it's not from the official, social media team within the company. Hopefully it doesn't go that way. But it does seem like the industry is recognizing this issue and trying to address it at least, which is good.
Yeah, and I have a friend that actually is a producer for a major company. Every time that she posts something, she has to be like, this has nothing to do with, my thoughts or my words have nothing to do with this particular company. So. And it's like, it's that you have to say that, like you have to protect yourself, that you can't freely talk as you as an individual for that sake.
But even that's not enough anymore. People can still get fired even if they, because of their association with. That's the problem. To see these horrible stories come out of something that I know we're both incredibly passionate about, and I know everyone watching is probably incredibly passionate about, and to know there's these people out there just trying to ruin it for us. I'm just like, just fuck you guys, come on.
Yeah,
but
and
anyway.
that's just one thing. That's just the gaming industry. That isn't like music, movies, food, retail. Like those people just need to go. There's just so many trolls in every aspect of life, just ruining stuff, and it's sad. But hopefully, instances and things like this will bring to light, fail safes, and to get rid of them. I mean, that's kind of like the whole topic this week and last week. It had a lot to do with trolls, between the racial slurs to the textual slurs to now these people on the back end, trying to get either a whole sex, a whole race, a whole gender, or this and that, removed from the industry for the sake of they got bored on a Saturday. It's nice that the industry itself is trying to protect us as gamers, to protect certain people. And I mean, like I said, I feel like there's going to be a whole lot of change this year in the industry, because there's going to be a whole lot of getting worse with people doing stupid stuff. But I think it's kind of like it takes the hacker to hack into your company for you to get the security. I feel like this is kind of where we're at. Like, it sucks that it happened, but I'm hoping that this, they will use this in a way to protect everyone else, in the industry that is working.
I think it's just sad. I think it's just sad that people need this kind of protection from gamers. It's just it shouldn't be necessary. But for anyone who is interested, I will post the International Game Developers Association guidelines and social media use. I will be posting that on my Discord, so if you want to check that out, I'm definitely going to give it a read because I'm quite curious as to what it says. But yeah, if you want to check that out, I will post in Discord. You can go and see it there. We'll definitely have more on that in the future. I have a feeling this is going to be a topic that is going to constantly come up throughout this year, as community management becomes a bigger deal for developers. So we'll see how that develops. Now on to our last two little features for the show. The first one is our funny story for the week, which is entirely irrelevant, but this is a news headline I saw earlier this week, which I just absolutely loved, and I just thought it was just so adorable. It was a news headline that came out that said, Australia's oldest man knits tiny sweaters for injured penguins. So moving on.
There's so much to talk about
so
there.
I
Hey,
think it's just a hilarious fucking headline. But anyway,
anybody doing anything in a positive light is a good thing. So
I just love it. It's just
those words,
man.
those words together are definitely funny. But
great.
hey,
like the article had a picture of these penguins in his tiny sweaters, and they were just so flippin' adorable. I loved it. But anyway. Right, so moving on, we have our game spotlight. Noobs, what is our game spotlight this week? Tell us all about it.
Today's game spotlight is Never Split the Party, which Never Split the Party. Shoop, there we go. So like this is it reminds me of Zelda. Just watch them run around. It's a roguelike game where you and 3 other people get to go in. You get to do the dungeon crawl. You die, you start over. There is no, reset, whatever. One life, that's it. The thing that I like about it is I've played a lot of these different games, and you're stuck by yourself. It's basically like a memory game. The way that that this is laid out is where, you go in with your 4 friends, but everybody has a purpose. And that's what I really like about this is like, where did everything go? It all disappeared. Hang on one sec here.
Hey, video's frozen up a bit. It looks quite cool though. I mean, I think this is something that would be quite cool to play on streams actually, especially if you get to play with your friends. And I'm always a big fan of this.
Oh, and that's what I
Just
like.
Looking at the screen. Yeah, I like on the screen. Like I'm guessing this is kind of like a shop system where you collect things and you can buy those items. Oh, there we go. Oh,
is it working now?
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, I don't know what it just kind of poof. So the nice thing about the game, it will be free to play with possible paying for like extra characters. Like you'd get, let's say a warrior, a rogue, a wizard, or this or that, where like that might be where you're gonna pay down the road is just for like a possible different character. The nice thing about the game is like the most of the roguelike dungeon crawler type games that you play, you get your 1 life, that's it. You usually get your 1 character. But this one, you get 4 different characters, and each character has a purpose. Like you have one that, if you have your healer, that's going to be strictly for your health. You got one that will, have an understanding. Like he will be the one to be able to see the maps. So like you will have, I guess, an aspect, a leader, somebody that's going to like kind of guide you through. So you're going to have to follow him because he knows where everything is. Another person for inventory, and the last person will, I guess, be your upgrader. So maybe like one of these people will be like a smith or somebody that you give all the stuff to make you more armor. So not only does it, serve as that roguelike game, but now it has kind of like that functionality where you can actually go in and, you can play it with friends. Everybody has a purpose and role. You don't get the exact same people. So I think that alone is pretty cool. Like everybody has a purpose to help each other get through each one of the levels on the map.
Yeah.
So I think
I
think that's kind of a neat little game, and it's free to play. Like they are going to keep it free. And I mean, that's kind of one thing that we talk about here is, as long as there isn't a paywall, for the microtransaction download of getting a different character, like you have to have the barbarian to get past the dragon or something. As long as you don't need that, like I'm okay with it. I mean, you get 4 people. I don't think I need any more than that. So I don't know. We'll see. It's coming out, I think.
I don't think I have any more than 4 friends, so yeah, perfect for me.
Perfect. But I do know that if you go on Steam, that they are giving out alpha keys to test the game out. You would have to join their Discord, write somebody, talk to them. So if anybody is interested in it, that would be a way, kind of maybe get a community thing together for us friendless people, where we can get that extra friend or two so we can get in and four-man this. Um, so yeah, if anybody's definitely interested, like I said, if you go to Steam, right there in alpha access, it says, Discord, message this person, and then they'll send you a key. Kind of help check it out.
I think I'm definitely going to check it out this week. I think I'll definitely check it out this week, actually. It looks really good.
And it does. It reminds me of Zelda, going through the different panes from the original Zelda.
That one. Brilliant. Well, if anyone wants to play that game with us, wants to check it out, hit us up on Discord. I'm going to be playing it at some time this week. If you want to come join us in a game with that, please do. That brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for that, Noobs. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back again next week at the same time. This video will also be up on YouTube tomorrow. If you are not a follower of myself or Noobs, please, we always support any kind of support. Give us both a follow. Check out our Discords. Noobs has a YouTube show, everything. Yeah, there's social media stuff all over the screen, everywhere. Check it all out, and we hope to see you guys next week. And if you have anything you'd like to add to any of these stories, hit us up on Discords. You can come to my channel, hit me up with some messages in my channel. I'll be on for a little bit. We are actually going to be going into
After stream party.
We're going to be going. That's the one, the after stream party in Noob Television's Discord. We're going to go into the after stream party. We're going to be hanging out there. You guys can come and chat with us for a bit. It'll be a voice chat, so you can come and talk with us. Come and ask us questions and share your opinions on the stories that we had today. Yep. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. TNT, thank you very much for joining the stream. You've come at exactly the wrong moment because we're about to finish.
That's how it works.
The show will be up on YouTube tomorrow.
Yes, it will.
So yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. We hope you guys have a great week. We hope this has started off your week nicely. And yeah, for you guys in America, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. For everyone, all the lovely people here in the UK.